Hello there. What is going on, everybody? We've got some big news coming from Fantasy Flight Games this week for all of your favorite Star Wars miniatures games. So we're going to talk about that, although there's not a whole lot to say. But before I get into that, let me remind you there is still time left to enter to win the giveaway for a $25 Amazon gift card. All you have to do is be a subscriber and leave a comment on this or one of my videos. It's as simple as that. I'll actually be announcing the winner for this latest giveaway this weekend, so make sure you watch my videos all the way to the end, because that's usually when I announce the winner. Also, do want to thank Luxury Playstyle for sponsoring this video. They have some of the most amazing X-Wing tokens you will ever see, as well as tokens for a whole lot of other games. So be sure to check out luxuryplaystyle.com. Use code CrabbokVIP to save 15%. You're going to love these. They're full metal tokens, and they have them for a variety of games, so it's not just X-Wing, but they are really, really nice. Okay, so Adepticon, not happening. We're doing social distancing right now, and also, staying at home, and a lot more and more places are being, they're trying not to use the term lockdown right now. But as you know, Adepticon is not happening. This was going to be a major convention for FFG, and they tend to announce some things at Adepticon. So while they are not going to be announcing anything at Adepticon, they are going to announce something at the same time. So FFG announced on their live stream last night, or rather yesterday, that they are going to still go ahead and have a big announcement. It's going to be Thursday at 4 p.m. Now, that means Thursday, the 26th of March. So if you're watching this farther in the future, you probably already missed it. You probably already know everything that's coming. But the reason why this is significant is because they specifically pointed out their Star Wars miniatures games. So Armada, XWing, and Legion, those are specifically going to be what's addressed. So that's actually pretty darn exciting. So I'm going to hit each of those, talk about what I expect. Because in addition to Adepticon, you also have Gen Con that still hasn't said anything about being canceled yet, because it's far enough out that I think there's a chance that Gen Con will still happen. So FFG probably wants to save their biggest announcements of the year for Gen Con. So while Adepticon will probably have some announcements, I don't think it's going to have everything. So let's talk about these games. So first of all, let's talk about my favorite game of all time, Armada. Armada is probably going to have its Clone Wars announcement. That's my guess. That's my biggest guess of what it could, because I don't think anything else is scheduled for Armada. They've talked about how Armada, Wave 1 is, or the Clone Wars Wave 1 is what they're calling it, is still going to be shooting for Q4 of this year. I imagine there's a chance that could be pushed back based on everything that's happening, like day by day. We're getting new news. But I think I can't imagine them doing something for Armada and it not being this, because there's nothing else as far as we know. They've talked about Wave 1 and Wave 2 of Clone Wars, but they haven't even hinted that anything else was coming in between those, and I doubt anything else is coming in between those, unless, of course, it's in the form of an FAQ or some kind of rules update, but they just gave us that already. So a really process of elimination here has to be at least an initial kind of announcement of the Clone Wars. How is it coming? Is it going to be like starter boxes? Is it going to be a new core set? Is it going to be an essentials kit with, a la carte expansions? I'd expect, some kind of basic information and maybe a first look at some of the ships and some of the box art with maybe more detailed preview coming for Gen Con. And Gen Con probably will give us that look at what Wave 2 might be for Clone Wars. So that's what I'm anticipating for Star Wars Armada. Let me know if you agree or if you think it's going to be something else. Maybe you're expecting something really spectacular, like, oh, we're also going to do a whole bunch of Legends stuff, and it's all coming out this year, which I think is a little unrealistic. I think it'd be great if they did a bunch of Legends stuff, especially since all of these games are approved all the way through 2023. That doesn't mean until 2023. That means through 2023, and then they all continue to seek further approval, and that's kind of how they do it. X-Wing, I think we're going to, I don't know if we're going to get an update on the next wave, although we certainly could, because Wave 7 was kind of pushed back along with everything else. Wave 7 was originally supposed to be out in April. We know that that's not going to happen. They pushed back all of their April releases until May at the earliest, and probably later than that. So I think one of the things we might get for X-Wing is some update on the status of huge ships. That's why I've kind of gone with this picture, because there were supposed to be more huge ships and more epic stuff, and a lot of that stuff is kind of just like vanished, like right in the middle. They released the CR90 and they're like, boom. Like, so what about the Gazanti, and what about, you know, what about the GR75, and what about that? What about any new huge ships? So like any kind of information they can give us about that would be great. Although there may be a preview of Wave 8. I'm not sure if they're ready to do that yet. I think they'll probably do some kind of supplementary release in between Waves 7 and 8, since Wave 7 is still going to be a little bit farther out. But then again, it could be a really, really big preview. It does seem like waves are getting smaller now for X-Wing, with Wave 7 only having 3 ships, and most of the factions not getting a new ship. So I feel like, you know, at least with the huge ships, how they have, you know, they work for multiple factions each, you can probably appease more factions than by releasing actual new huge ships. So yes, and then Legion. I don't really think they're going to do anything super huge for Legion, because there's already 4 expansions that have been pretty much spoiled that they haven't officially announced yet. So I think Legion, whatever they announce for Legion, is pretty much going to be the things we already know. So like the ATRT for the Republic, the STAP for the Separatists, and then Inferno Squad, and then also Clan Ren. Now, I'm still excited about this, because while they are spoiled, we really don't know much about them other than the names, right? And then maybe a little bit. You could probably infer a little bit about the ATRT based on the ATRT that we have already for the Rebels, and you could probably infer a little bit about how the STAP might work based on some of the new rules that were in the latest rules reference guide. So we can assume that it's probably some type of hover air vehicle, and will probably not have a compulsory move. That's my guess, just based on like the little breadcrumbs that have been dropped. I would be surprised if they announce anything beyond that. And honestly, I'm going to tell you something. Lately, I look forward to being surprised when FFG announces something new and you're like, oh! Because honestly, with Legion specifically, everything lately has been leaked out of Europe before it gets to, you know, before they get to announce it on their own, or leaked through their website. Which is kind of funny. Through the Asmodee store, they've been leaking a lot of stuff. So there's been so many leaks. I seriously doubt they could actually surprise anybody at this point, because if they did want to announce something, I almost feel like they're cursed, like somebody would go ahead and leak something ahead of time. And I really want that to stop. Even though leaks are like juicy for the business of media, and you could, I mean, somebody might think that I would look forward to leaks. I actually don't, because I play these games and I do all this stuff because I love these games, and I actually love to be surprised, and I love for FFG to be able to, you know, show me what they want to show me on their own terms, you know, as opposed to leaks. Because the problem with a leak is there's always a chance that it might be baloney. It might not be real. So, like, I'd rather just know for sure that it's coming, and then really be able to, like, you know, start frothing at the mouth over it. So, you know, if they do actually announce anything new that hasn't been pre-leaked already, I'll be really happy and excited about that. So that's cool. Now, those are the 3 big miniatures games. There's always a chance they might hint on something else. Like, we know that Steve Horvath was talking about with Team Covenant about Outer Rim having an expansion. So they might talk about Outer Rim a little bit. I don't think they'll do that at Adepticon, though. But, I mean, it's possible. It's certainly possible. I think a lot of the players who play Armada, X-Wing, and Legion also are familiar, at least, with games like Rebellion and Outer Rim, and, you know, like their other Star Wars games, and probably even some of their other sci-fi games. Like, personally, I'm a big fan of Twilight Imperium, Twilight Imperium 4. Maybe I'll edit that out. Maybe I'll just leave that right in. But, yeah, Twilight Imperium 4th Edition is maybe one of the best. It's easily in my top 5 board games of all time. Maybe top 3, maybe top 2. You know, it's a crowded place at the top, and it definitely has a firm place among the titans of tabletop. So I love that game, and I definitely, you know, because it kind of feels like Star Wars. It feels like a 6-player version of Star Wars, and you're all trying to gain control of the Senate or something like that. It's a really cool game. So if you haven't ever played Twilight Imperium, you really should. And I haven't really made any videos about Twilight Imperium because, well, so much of a game. It's a daunting game to tackle. Let me tell you that. All right, so but yes, basically, if in case you didn't remember or you skipped the beginning of the video, Thursday at 4 p.m. Central Time, FFG is going to be announcing their basically whatever it is they were going to announce at Adepticon, covering their Star Wars miniature games, Armada, X-Wing, and Legion. And so, and maybe something else, who knows? Like, if there was ever going to be another miniatures game planned, Adepticon would be a good time for them to kind of debut it or announce it. They do a lot of stuff at Adepticon. Anything they don't announce here, that is also a big announcement, will probably make its way to Gen Con for those announcements. But then again, there's really no guarantee at this point that Gen Con's even going to happen. So, they may just say, you know what, screw it, let's just announce everything today, or Thursday. But yeah, so that's all of these things are possible. I look forward to it, and make sure you click that subscribe button, click that bell for alerts, because I will be bringing you a breakdown of everything just as soon as possible. And yeah, there we go. So, all right, guys, that's it. Stay tuned for more exciting news, and I think we could all really use some awesome news at this point, because really cool, exciting news is great, and it's a great distraction from all the chaos going on in the world right now. All right, guys, I want to thank you all so much for watching, and as always, have a great day.